It's gonna go, and boom, there we go. We are
Oh,
live. Welcome,
yay!
internet.
Yeah, yeah, we're live.
We're live. We made it. We made it. Victor, especially like Victor, like had to climb a mountain and actually photographing the internet. Victor.
Oh, picture of all the people watching us. So I know. I just want to
Oh,
register who's here.
well, it is quite a crowd that's gathered. I must say, I can see some people that I know there.
I can't
Yes,
believe
that'll
that
be.
guy showed up after what he behaved last time. Don't mention him, but
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting crowd tonight because, and you guys can all tweet about this. Victor's got some errands he's got to do partway through, so we're going to hold this until when everything is sort of settled. But Amadofu, who is the person we're about to introduce, a man of many, many opinions and experiences and backgrounds. Um, so among the things that I asked, what do you want to talk about tonight? The first thing that you said to me was what? Maybe you can explain yourself, Amadofu.
The first thing I can talk about gay dating in Japan compared to gay dating in America because I
Yeah.
have been.
oh wait a minute, I got a lot to say about this, but I have to go away. I'll be back.
Okay.
I may
Okay. So
be back, but I've got a lot to say about that because
Oh, okay, okay.
I,
so many
I'm
guys never
wondering.
call me back, and I'm upset. Okay, I'll be back.
I'm thinking Victor's not comfortable. He leaves the moment that you talk about gay dating. He's just like,
I know
I
he's
have to go. I
Victor's
think
like the
he's
20 subscribers I lost when I posted my coming out story.
that was true. So yeah, so you lost 20 subscribers when you posted your coming out video.
Yeah, like this past week I released a coming out video. Granted, it wasn't a Japan-related video, and also the previous video was a month before that, so people were probably waiting for, something Japan-related. But I'd like to say, like, my channel, I feel as a gay person, anytime you have a voice on the internet, it's
Yeah,
really important to, like, share your experiences. So even
sure.
though my channel is a Japanese channel, it is also about my life and who I am. So I'm gay, and apparently 20 or so people didn't like that.
But see, and my response to that is, you're better for not having those 20 subscribers. I mean, this is you have to make a kind of a there's two approaches. I know people get obsessed with subscriber counts on YouTube and they just want to get as many people as possible, but I always believe this, and not just on the topic of being gay or anything like that, but if you're trying to be someone that you're not and you're getting those subscribers for trying to be this zany, crazy person that you can't sustain yourself or that isn't you or that you're not comfortable being, then I'd rather have the 30,000 subscribers I have that have a pretty good idea of what to expect when I'm going to talk and who want to actually watch what I have to offer, than, for example, a million subscribers who are going to, who don't know me or that I'd be very stressed out about making videos for. So, I mean, that's a choice. There are a lot of people who want the million subscribers, but you are better off without those subscribers, I tell you so.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, I never really try to hide it. I mean, actually, Michaela, I'm sure you know Michaela. She like tweeted to me when she saw that. She was like, "How did people not know?"
I wonder if I made a coming out video and people said that, I'll be like, if I made like a prank coming out video and people said, "Oh, I knew all along," I'll be like,
Oh, that would be really like that would
that'd be
get
kind
you
of
really in
funny.
the heart. Like,
That'd be drama. That would be. Speaking of drama, because again we're going to hold this topic, but when I asked you what's been interesting to you lately, and what you told me
uh,
was
is the scandal, I guess,
the
of
dra-
Mira's 3-year-old picture of her doing blackface resurfacing on Twitter specifically,
yeah.
and I think not only I, but a lot of people have opinions about that.
Right. So, and I'm sure Victor has opinions around this as well. I'm sure we can have a very good discussion about that. So,
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna lock that down while Victor washes his baby and comes back. But in the
Okay.
meantime, I mean, there's plenty to talk about. The first thing is I mean, I kind of connected to discovering your channel through Christina, who's a friend of yours, right? Who we had on the show like a couple of months ago now.
Yeah, Christina is like one of my best friends in Japan.
Yeah, and what blew me away, her channel, the quality on her channel, like just from the get-go, just blew me away. And she's very good at making videos. And then she said, I asked her, who else should I be looking at? And she said straight away, Amadofu. And I went to your channel, and damn, the quality on your channel as well is like you're putting the veterans to shame. I mean, you've got a really you know, well, your videos are well made and they're really interesting, and yeah, it's popped up. But all these people seem to be popping up, and they're just immediately making videos better than everybody else.
I mean, it's like you said in the video with Christina. It's just all these people are watching and absorbing and learning what's been done.
Yeah.
And also, I think just, I mean, not me particularly because I'm not that good with technology, but I feel like Christina just has a knack for it and just learning programs really quickly. And I think Christina, in every facet of her life, is just very stylish and she gets it.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from her, and I wish my channel was as good as hers. But I'm getting there. To be honest, and a lot of people don't know this because I don't like say it in my videos, but currently, I just bought a Mac Mini. I just bought a new computer.
Yeah.
I was using my laptop from college, and I was using a program on it called Filmora to edit my videos.
Right.
But my computer, my old computer, is so crappy that whenever I opened the program, it would cause my computer to slow down immensely.
Right.
And the videos that I uploaded into the program desynced the audio and the video desynced. So for the past year and a half, I have been editing my videos desynced, not being able to watch them properly until after I upload them like to my computer, like save the project. So there have been times that I've worked like 2 or 3 hours making a video, and then I saved it, watched it, and realized that the music and a bunch of things were not synced at all. Then I had to scrap the project and do it again.
That sucks, and that is what happens actually quite often when you have. Yeah, I had cheap software and an underpowered PC for a long time, and I had that sometimes they would get disconnected even because of whatever the caching lag, whatever, and then I'd have to kind of account for that half second and like move the sound all back or something to compensate, and it was nightmarish. And I eventually spent a lot of money on getting a really high spec PC and some pro software basically, which cost a lot of money, but it's been a dream ever since I did. But that's right. I mean, but suffering through all of that. But what's amazing to me is people like you and Christina have started like from the get-go doing stuff which has taken people like Victor and I like 8 or 9 years to gradually figure out in increments, and it's like these people are starting now like at the same or ahead of us. It's kind of like, wow, everything is jumping ahead so fast, and it's cool. And then what was cool about it is that these new YouTubers like yourself, I feel like people like me can go back and learn from you guys now actually, and so it's kind of cool. It's great to be challenged, and it's great to see that the quality, as has always happened, it's always been this trend that the quality keeps coming up and up.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
But so what is your channel? I mean, given that you obviously surprised 20 of your subscribers when you came out, what would you say your channel is about for people who haven't come across it?
Well, I think my channel is kind of a mishmash, which is why I feel like a lot of people, to be completely honest, a lot of people follow me because I do a lot of videos about Pokemon.
Pokemon. Which Christina does too. Yes.
Yeah. Like I will admit, like I'm kind of otaku. I'm not like socially awkward like weeaboo. Like I can, I still function as a member of society. But I also really like nerdy things. I'm very into like video games and Pokemon. So I do a lot of videos about Pokemon. But recently I got a Snapchat so that I could just upload quick videos on there and not have to flood my channel with Pokemon stuff. But I also do a lot of videos like out and about and going to like limited edition cafes. I really like Gimmeabreakman. It's like kind of my thing. I love Gimmeabreakman. But starting this year, I want to start making more informational videos and fact videos. I actually have a video planned tomorrow about how to stay warm in Japan.
How to stay warm in Japan, which is a challenge because most of the buildings don't have insulation.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm trying to cater to people who want to know more about living in Japan and things like that. So, but yeah, my channel's a mess. It really is. It's just a bunch of like whatever I feel like doing, whatever I like. I just kind of like, I'm selfish that way.
Yeah,
I like doing it.
Yeah, I had another generational moment there as well. I remember the first time I saw the word. I think the first time I ever saw the word weeaboo was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was on my channel, and someone left a comment saying, "You are such a weeaboo." And the thing is,
I'm very interested.
I live here, dude. You know. So
Well, speaking of weeaboos, here comes Victor.
Here is Victor and his future weeaboo.
Oh my god, he's so
I
great.
don't know what weeaboo means anymore. I thought it meant someone who likes anime and manga.
Well, yeah. So, like I said, when someone first used the word with me, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about? And I found out that this whole culture, and within this anime culture.
Really?
So the first time I saw it was someone left a comment on my channel saying, "You're such a weeaboo." I went, "What the hell is that?" And the best response I ever heard to that was Nonstop to Tokyo, Constantine, who I think she was responding to comments on her videos, and someone said, "You're such a weeaboo," and she said, "In my experience, the only people who use the word weeaboo are weeaboos."
Oh, that's so true. That's so true, though.
That is true.
So maybe I am like, maybe I'm not otaku. Like maybe I am a legitimate weeaboo. Like I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think it's gone into the lexicon.
But if you want to know more, like if you want to know exactly what a weeaboo is, I recommend you look up Filthy Frank, his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He actually wrote a song called Weeaboo. It is the funniest song I've ever heard. It's really catchy, and it showcases perfectly what a weeaboo is.
Is he in Osaka?
I'm not actually sure where he lives in Japan.
I'm not even sure if he's actually on this planet. To be frank, is he actually even in Japan? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just.
I thought maybe he wasn't in Japan at one point, but then I don't know. Like the places he films, sometimes it doesn't look like Japan to me, so I don't know.
Yeah. By the way,
Can you summarize the big difference of between dating, gay dating in America and you're from America?
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, you haven't. Okay.
But I've got little Godzilla front and center at the moment, just because, damn, I mean, even for me, he's growing up fast, dude.
Yeah, he really is.
I just saw another guy, Looser Misser or Looser Musser.
Musser.
Subscribers, you probably know. He's got an 8-month-old that's 13 kilograms.
13?
This is a year and a week old, and he's 10.5 kilograms.
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously,
I can't believe he's already past a year old.
Yeah, he just turned a year last week.
I feel like it. Wow. Like I remember when you first started talking about it and posting pictures, and yeah, I feel like we as your subscribers have really watched him grow, which is a very unique experience for us. He's so cute. Like, let's make this the Little Godzilla like live show. Can we for a second though?
It'd be very boring. It'd basically be him. He'll be bored until he cries, and then. You know.
So is he gonna start crying if we talk about blackface at any point?
No, he's not racist.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Like,
I mean, he
doesn't
hate Canadians, is what I mean.
well,
Little Godzilla's like me now. He's half Latino.
Are you half Latino?
Yeah, my dad was born in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican Dominican.
It's funny because Victor is Puerto Rican as well.
Todos hablan español. El Hikosaemon también habla un poco de español, ¿no?
Bueno, solamente un poco, pero ahora no puedo recordar nada.
Everyone speaks Spanish here.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually don't speak
Except
Spanish.
he doesn't. Except a Puerto Rican doesn't speak it.
You are one of the few white Puerto Ricans out there, though. I mean, white. You don't look like you could be Puerto Rican.
I look exactly like my mom, and she was a short, freckled, redhead Irish woman.
In Puerto Rico.
I wouldn't say
of
you
course.
look exactly like a short, freckled Irish woman, but yes, I get the point.
You look tall. My image of you is you're really tall and lanky, and
I'm super lanky, but I'm only 5'8".
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm quite like
6'2" or something like Hiko.
No, I'm so average. But also, I have severe scoliosis. Like, I had spinal surgery, so I have 2 titanium rods drilled to my spine. But if I didn't have scoliosis and my back was completely straight, I'd probably be like 5'10" or 5'11".
Yeah.
How often do you jokes about having rods in your body? Any time?
No, because it's not obvious unless I mention it to someone, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't really meet people and say, "Hey, my name is Chris, and I'm
rods in my body. I think it reminds you of Forrest Gump, you know, with the brace or something. It's probably different to that, isn't it? But yeah, it has a cool aspect.
But
to
I
it.
will say, have you seen Romy and Michelle's high school reunion?
Yes.
Because I used to have to wear a back brace in high school for 2.5 years.
Really?
So I was like, you know, like, I always say, you know, I'm not that good looking, but when I think of what I look like in high school, I've come a long way.
Yeah, no, believe me.
I'd say you're a fairly good-looking gentleman.
Oh, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. You look well. I guess you look like you have good fashion sense. as opposed to Hiko and myself.
I mean, if you consider like shopping only at H&M because it's cheap and affordable, then yes, I'm very stylish.
See,
Like a magazine commercial. Then. If you only buy things that are in magazines, I guess you are.
Well, the difference is that he shops at H&M and I shop at clothes shops, and I don't pay attention to what the shop is, and I just check if it fits. And then my wife gets angry at me after I buy something. So how could you buy that?
So Yoko will come and take away, take him. We had at my school Shinenkai this evening, so we were out a little bit late. The New Year's party for the year. It's a little bit late, but.
Yeah, but say that's quite late for a New Year's party.
Yeah, well, no one's schedule would meet up. Actually, I have another Shinenkai next week, so with another group of students. But tell me about so you're single? Can I ask you about that? I guess
now I'm single, and actually, like the reason I was in a relationship with a Japanese guy for a year and a half. No, a year and like a month or two, like a little over a year. And we actually broke up due to cultural differences that he just couldn't get past.
Wow.
And that's an interesting topic, I feel like.
Can we get into that? So, I mean, just for a start.
That sounds like a great video right there.
Intercultural gay dating, what the challenges are. What are the challenges of coming... So, you're from the United States, by the way.
Yeah, I'm from New York.
From where?
New York.
New York. Okay, so you're a New Yorker American who's coming to Japan dating a Japanese gay guy. What are the dynamics like from that in the beginning, especially for other people from your sort of background coming to Japan? What are the challenges having a relationship in Japan as a gay guy?
Well, I would say, first of all, I mean, this is pretty obvious, but most gay men in Japan, Japanese men, are not out of the closet.
Right.
If you're lucky, maybe not lucky, but there are a fair few amount of gay Japanese men who have most of their friends are gay. So it almost creates an environment in which it seems like they're very open about who they are, but in reality it's only to like people who are like them. But my boyfriend was not out of the closet. I was his first boyfriend. I was his first everything. That was really the biggest part, because for me, I've been out of the closet for a long time, and not that I'm like out and proud. Like I'm proud, but I don't. I'm not loud.
Yeah.
I'm not loud. But he felt a lot of pressure and kind of made it seem like I was putting pressure on him when in reality I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was more to do with his insecurity of not wanting to come out. But he wasn't out to his parents. I don't think that would have ever happened. He wasn't out to his sister. He wasn't out to his... Actually, he wasn't out to his Japanese friends, but during the time we were dating, he did eventually come out to one of his friends.
Right.
But he didn't tell her that he was in a relationship, which I thought was weird, but...
So how would a Japanese guy in that sort of situation even... So obviously people realize that they are gay at some point. So how do they even deal with that if they can't even come out to anybody, like you say? I mean, how did you hook up with this guy? How did this guy hook up with you when he's in such a repressed situation?
We met on a dating app, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Grindr?
Huh?
Grindr or something else?
Oh, no, gross. I would never use Grindr. I'm sorry.
I've always Grindr on Conan, and I'm sorry, is that like a weird site to go on?
I mean, my best friend who's like sitting right next to me has been on Grindr all day, but I personally don't use Grindr because, not to sound like holier than thou, but like I don't do hookups or anything like that. I've never hooked up with anyone or had a one-night stand. I'm solely like monogamous, so like I don't really do that sort of thing. Side eye to Dustin, but I came to Japan knowing that I'm now an adult. I'm not in a school environment. It's going to be difficult to meet gay people, so I decided to make a profile for a Japanese dating app called 9 Monsters.
Nine Monsters?
9 Monsters, yes.
It's a dating app called 9 Monsters.
Yes.
That's interesting for a dating app.
And history behind that.
It's predominantly Asian people. Like I've been on the app for over almost 2 years now, and I rarely ever see Westerners on it. So I was just using it to like make friends. So I met my ex-boyfriend. We talked for 2 months on the app. Then we met and we instantly hit it off. We were friends for 7 months.
Right.
No flirting, nothing, just legitimately friends. But we saw each other every weekend, so it got to the point where I was like, I can't see myself not having you in my life. So, I confessed to him, and he said he was actually really, really nervous about it. He thought about it for like 3 days if he was ready to be in a relationship, and then he said yes. But clearly he wasn't, because a year later he tells me that it was too much for him.
Well, people have to go through those. It's part of life as well when you go through those steps.
Every weekend for 3 years now, and I don't think we're ready yet. No, our wives think we are.
Yes, I think we're pretty much an official couple now, but yes.
Our wives joke that we're go talk to your boyfriend.
Yeah, my wife literally says go talk to your boyfriend.
But, can I ask about him coming out to one of his Japanese friends and how that went? I don't know if it's an interesting story or not, but
well, when he was planning on coming out to her, because my ex actually, he spoke fluent English, and he actually studied in America, so his American friends knew that he was gay. They were the only people who knew. But he had 2 Japanese friends from his university in Japan who he was very, very close to. One was a girl and one was a guy. And he decided that he wanted to come out to them, but he chose the girl first. And I was actually really happy because he asked me for advice before he did it. He told me, like, what do you think I should do? Like, how do you think I should approach it? And I told him, like, if you feel comfortable, if you feel like she's not going to judge you, but you're afraid to come out to your other friend, maybe you should get her on her own. And, and he did that. And she was actually very receptive to it, responsive to it. And she said, like, she didn't say, like, I knew, but she was like, oh, okay, is that why you haven't dated anyone? And, which is really fucked up because he didn't tell her that he was dating me. He just said, oh, I'm gay, but he didn't say I have a boyfriend. Which is a part of the dating thing as well. If you date a Japanese person who's not out, it's very isolating because they're not going to introduce you to their family. They're not going to introduce you to any of their friends. He, of course, was willing to meet my friends, but it was almost like pulling teeth. Like, he would try to make excuses like, oh, well, I might be busy. And, like, I just could tell he didn't really want to meet my friends. It was that bad. Like, that's how afraid he was that people would find out that he was gay.
Well, one point I'd tag on to that from a heterosexual dating perspective is that one thing Japanese generally do, and this is true in dating as well, they really do compartmentalize their lives a lot more.
That's true, yeah.
Not just dating, but pretty much on every aspect.
Everything. Like if when you're dating someone in America or New Zealand, pretty soon you know their coworkers, you know their friends, because you just hang out at home half the time, and you just happen to run into everybody. But in Japan, you'll never know anything about this person's work. You'll know, family will be a long time quite often. People will definitely, the Japanese are very much into compartmentalizing, so I can imagine when you add to that being unsure about being in or out of the closet on top of that and being in a gay relationship, that adds to, of course, to the heaviness of that. But
yeah,
it's a challenge for us as well.
Yeah, I could understand that. But like I was saying, she was very open to it, and I think after that he told me, like, she never mentioned it again after that. Like, it was just back to being regular friends, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Because it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But so we ended up breaking up like much later, and he told me when we broke up, he said, I've been thinking about this for a really long time, and he was like, I really like you. It has nothing to do with me not liking you. But he was like, I feel like when we're dating and I meet you, I feel so much pressure. He said, I almost wish we could go back to when we were friends, because then we could enjoy time together without that pressure. And he was like, so I want to be friends. And before this happened, he started to distance himself from me for a good 2 months. Yeah. And this was, a month after I moved all the way to Tokyo to be closer to him and take a job, like settle on a job I didn't really want. And settle on an apartment I didn't really want. So for him to distance himself from me after I did that, when he was like, yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while and I want to be friends, I was like, I don't want to be friends with you. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we haven't really talked since we broke up, but I understand that it wasn't anything really that I did,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like he didn't like me. It was just this pressure that he felt, and there was nothing I can do about it.
But another thing that again happens quite almost all the time in breakups in Japan. It's actually interesting to me that he said he wanted to be friends because
That never happens.
it's usually the foreigners who want to say, "Hey, break up, but we still be friends." The Japanese is like, "You're dead after you break up." It's the standard. It's the standard
Unless
procedure.
they meet someone new, and then they'll call you to tell you, "Oh, by the way, I met someone new. I'm fine now. Bye."
I haven't had that.
So there Japanese people are really shady.
Girls that I've broken up with, maybe it's only if you dump them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've had them send messages back through mutual friends to tell him that I'm now dating a TV producer, and I heard that and I thought, oh, thank God.
Oh my God! Wait, but did you break up with them, or they broke up with you?
I broke up with them, and
Okay.
they
Maybe
wanted
that's
to,
why, because my boyfriend broke up with me.
Yeah.
So he probably felt like, well, I can extend him this lifeline. Like, I'm still willing to be your friend.
Well, you're obviously a complete wreck at the moment, so perhaps that's
I mean, to be honest, like,
that's why that happens.
I feel very fortunate because in my life I've gone through a lot of like shitty things. Like my mom passed away not too long, like two years ago before I came to Japan, and like I had a serious like surgery that I was like bedridden for like a year. Just like a lot of stuff has happened to me, and I feel like breaking up with someone, that's like nothing compared to other things that I've experienced.
Right.
So I'm just like, whatever, I still have Pokemon.
Hey, don't we all? We all have Pokemon. So look, you're back. So let's do this thing, right? We're gonna bring a topic. I don't like to necessarily pick out people and get onto bandwagons of condemnation.
No, you're very good about it.
But that said,
I, on the other hand, have no problem.
there's no problem whatsoever. But let's face it. I mean, some people here have made some decisions in the past which they appear to be have stood by, and there was a controversial incident which is now quite old. Actually, it's a couple of years ago now, right?
Yeah, I think it was from 3 years ago.
Yeah. So this is where Mira Canada 3, who's managed to get into trouble with different people for all sorts of reasons, and that we don't even have to go into here. Frankly, I think everyone knows.
Yeah, that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right.
But she whatever brainstorm that she had one day, she thought it would be good to. As I recall, I think the purpose of the exercise was to try to demonstrate that black people don't have a bad time in Japan I think it was intended as a social experiment by making herself look black and then going out in the town and then talking about her experience of being treated as a normal person while she was living as a black person. And to do that, she made herself appear black by basically blackening up her face and publishing photos of her having done that.
Well, apparently it wasn't her that took the photo.
Okay, so tell me how you understand this whole thing from there.
Well, similarly to what you just said.
This was your idea, right, Chris, to bring this up, by the way.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I'll start off by saying this. I don't hate Mira. I think in many ways, her channel is really interesting. Yeah. She's very good at getting people to watch her, and I think that in itself is a good skill. And I told Mira, when this happened, I told her, I'm not attacking you. I don't hate you. Honestly, it doesn't matter who did it. I would react the same way.
Kat is in the comments, and she's saying, it was my photo.
I know. I wasn't going to say her name, but I knew it was her.
Well, she's there. She's saying it. And besides, I'll also add on to that. Canada 3 has been on our show.
Yeah.
She was a great guest. It was a good show. It was a fun conversation.
I don't think she's a bad person. And I even told her, I said, honestly, Mira, I know. This was 3 years ago. I'm sure you're a different person. I know you've changed. I'm sure you don't really have anything against black people. However, you have to realize how this looks to other people. And you have to realize that you definitely offended a lot of people. So just prove that you've changed, take responsibility for what you did, and apologize. It's that simple. It really is that simple.
And how did that go?
And she told me, we had messages on Twitter, and I eventually moved it to private message because I was afraid that we were just blowing up news feeds. And it just came down to the fact that she wouldn't take responsibility for what she did. She insisted that because it was for a social experiment and she didn't mean any harm by it, that there was nothing for her to apologize for.
Right.
However, you will have realized by now that she made the apology video. So clearly there was something for her to apologize
What did
for.
she? I don't know. Did she make an apology video?
Yes, she did.
When?
She posted it 2 days ago. It's still up on her channel.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
I haven't seen that actually.
In the video, however, it was. I applaud her. I really do applaud her because she actually did say the words, "I'm sorry." She said, "I'm sorry."
I don't believe it.
She did. But the way I interpreted it is that she was sorry for offending people, but she wasn't sorry for being offensive. And it's not good enough to apologize without taking responsibility and understanding why what you did was wrong.
And I have issues with the blackface thing for sure, but as someone from a country that's removed from that cultural issue, I have to say I have more problem with her spelling.
I mean, that's a whole other thing. I mean,
I can't cope.
Bad spelling doesn't make a bad person.
It does. I'm sorry.
I know you're right, but it really.
There you go. See, this is what bad spelling
Bad
does.
spelling makes babies cry.
He's crying about the
This
bad
is what
spelling.
it does.
Alright, Bebop.
I've been saying this for years. You spell appalling with a U, and now we have a baby crying.
I mean, he's offended.
I'm offended. Yeah.
But I mean, the way that I look at it, and I know that some people might say like, oh, well, Amadofu or Chris is like the wrong guest for this issue. And I do agree to a certain extent. I'm not black, so in that way, I don't really have it to maybe some people that I might not have a right to be offended. However, as a human being, as an American who, I'm from a country where almost our entire history is based on race relations and the black struggle and everything that happened. And also, I am half Latino. My dad has told me stories of dealing with racism. That's why I wasn't allowed to learn Spanish, because my grandparents said if we were to live in their house, because my parents were poor, they had us when they were like 19.
Yeah.
My grandparents allowed them to live under their roof, but the grandkids, me and my brother, were to be raised as white children. We were not allowed to be taught Spanish. So that's why I don't speak Spanish.
So they were self-hating Spanish people, basically.
No, these were my mom's parents who were white. Yeah.
I get it.
My mom is Irish, and my grandfather came over to America from Ireland, and my grandmother is from Wales. So,
okay.
So as someone from that minority, and from being gay, I'm part of that minority. I get it. Being marginalized or being facing prejudice, it bothered me.
Yeah. Well, look, does it aggravate or mitigate that she happens to be Canadian?
Well, to me, I don't know Canadian history, so did they have a lot of history with racism? I don't know. I mean, I also know that Mira dropped out of high school, so I don't know how much she learned about.
Well, that's kind of Canadian history. So yeah, I mean, okay, take it all the way to New Zealand, or you take the blackface issue. Let me be the provocateur on this as well.
Please.
Since we're talking about it. There was a festival held in the Netherlands, which has been held for hundreds of years. And the Netherlands, like other parts of Europe, was very quick to get rid of slavery. America had this terrible history of slavery, and they dragged it out as long as they possibly could, right up to the Civil War and so on.
Yeah.
But Europe was relatively progressive around this sort of area, having some bad history first. But there are these towns in Holland where the whole town blackfaces for this huge festival every year. You've heard of this, right?
I think so, because I knew that there was a festival like this going on, but I didn't know where it was.
Yeah. So whenever there's in Japan, when there was this blackface controversy, I see Bio McNeil's been in the comments on this as well. So when there was this big blackface controversy with this TV thing last year, which Bio was actually he actually did a petition, online petition, which seemed to actually get an effect, and actually got a show rescheduled over this thing. But it was interesting. There were a lot of Dutch people who came into the comments, and they said, "This is an American-centric and Americentric perspective. How they're taking their culture and their history and their issues, and you're imposing all of that messed up history and all of those prejudices based on your culture on everybody else. and that in itself is problematic. This is done in the Netherlands without being done to belittle or humiliate. This is, marking a historical event and isn't intended to humiliate, and you're attaching the character of that where it's not there. And they're like, isn't this kind of American cultural imperialism that you're spreading this? Which is these are the retorts I see from Dutch people when I was promoting Baez McNeil on my Facebook. I mean, that said, I don't know if you're really exercising cultural imperialism towards a Canadian.
I mean, it could be, because I've been told by Europeans, some European friends I have, and they told me, Europe has an image of Americans, especially nowadays, that we're the most easily offended, especially about like staying politically correct. Like, you can't say that. Like, you're gonna offend this person. I hear that like America now has that image, and it's true. I get it. It's true.
Yeah. But yes, that's right. And back I showed, there's some people saying that they know what the Dutch think about this issue. The Dutch always jump up and say that's just Americans having too many psychological complexes. That's not real.
But the reason I should add this, and I don't know if Christina is in the comments because her boyfriend's over, so she's probably busy. But to me, Christina is my best friend, like one of my best friends, and I talk to her every day, her and Kelly. And to the extent to which Christina was upset, really upset me.
Yeah.
And for me to keep seeing it on Twitter, because most of it happened on Twitter, and Christina stays away from Twitter for the most part.
Yeah.
So Christina was hearing it from me and Kelly, and Christina was like, it was heartbreaking for me, because Christina was like, she got to the point where she was like, I don't want to hear that about anymore. Like, I'm so done. I'm so angry. I'm so upset. So a part of me felt like, it bothers me to begin with, but the fact that it's bothering someone that I care about and who has more of a right to be offended by it really puts it more into perspective.
And and the thing is, you can't at this point, I mean, you can't claim ignorance about the impact of this. She can't say, I didn't realize it wasn't going to offend anybody. She did it. I mean, obviously, anyone who's going to do this and is going to publicly or allow pictures to be posted of doing this or is doing this and is talking about this, they know they're doing it because it's controversial. They're doing it for the attention, obviously, to begin with. So, fending off, I mean, and again, the apology, I'm sorry that you were offended at me. There is a degree of, there should be a full knowledge. I mean, again, this happens a lot with a lot of conservative white people, that it's like, well, I understand that maybe you're offended, but I'm offended that you're offended, kind of thing.
That's, oh my God, I'm so triggered right now.
Please trigger us. I'm trying to trigger you. Get angry, please.
So that just brings me into exactly what brought me into this in the first place. Because I saw this going on for a day, almost maybe a day or two before I actually jumped in. I was on Twitter. There's someone on Twitter who is a person of color. They are black, and they were a subscriber of Mira. Their name is Nova, I believe.
I find that amazing that she. Okay, but sorry, keep going.
So I was reading this really long thread.
Yeah.
And Nova is telling Mira, like, I'm a subscriber of yours. I really like you. I've always liked you. But, like, why would you do this? It's offensive. And Mira and then another subscriber of Mira's join together and try to reverse it on Nova and make it seem like she's the racist.
Yeah.
And that triggered me so much. I was like, done. I was in a supermarket grocery shopping. I literally stopped in my tracks. I was so angry I couldn't type at the same time as I was walking. And I was like, who do you think you are for, one, coming at a subscriber of yours who's just trying to know why you did what you did? She's not saying she hates you. She's not saying she's unsubscribing. She just wants to know why you would do that. And now you're trying to make it seem like she's the bad one? Fuck that. Like, I'm sorry, but fuck that. So I jumped in, and that's where my whole conversation with Mira started. And I was real triggered. I'm sorry. I could not.
I'm imagining you damaging the produce in anger at reading these tweets.
I'm sure people around me were like, why is this American just stopping in his tracks? Like, granted, I'm not like I'm like a pole. You can easily walk around me, but I was red in the face. I was like, oh my God. And Mira, she types like a speed demon. She was like, bam, 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 bam. I couldn't keep up with her.
Well, she commits crimes against grammar and spelling that I have more trouble with actually than the racist aspects. But yes, I'm sure that's partly because she types so fast.
Yeah,
I'm tearing up actually. I'm finding this very funny.
And then since that incident, I have had other people, other subscribers of her, start talking to me on Twitter, telling me I'm ignorant because I think blackface is racist. Blackface is racist. I'm ignorant. I should go back to school because I'm uneducated. I'm sorry, but hashtag have several seats because I'm so done with you. And then, can we just have like a poetry corner? Because I've screenshotted a lot of comments from Mira's apology video, and I just want to read off a couple of good ones. So you can see the type of people who support and love her because she's not a racist.
Well, I'm sure she's not. Go ahead, let's prove it.
So let me see. I mean, granted, there were some good ones, and I was like, thank God there are people not supporting her because...
Well, there's a lot of people who follow her, and, you know, so there has to be statistically some intelligent people.
Surprisingly, most of them were supporting her, and that's
Well, I think that's a reflection, like we talked about earlier, about your 20 subscribers who left you. You know, they might have gone to her channel, but the point is, people know her at this point. You know, and the people who can't stand her, you know, the people who are going to unsubscribe have done that. So I guess it's not surprising that she has a lot of supporters.
yeah.
No. So what do you got?
So here's a big one, and it almost honestly the apology video. I was sort of okay with it because for Mira, simply apologizing is like a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But when I started seeing her comments, I was like, I feel like they're not helping her cause, and Mira, of course, is reading them, I would hope. She should just delete some of them because they were terrible. This one, someone commented, you know what? Blackies are too easily offended.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. And someone else said, first I dressed up as a N-word, now I build mud huts. So, you know, good for her face. I'm glad that they think what she's doing is joke-worthy, and I'm hoping these are jokes and not real. And and then last one. This one happened today. I saw it today. She said, so what are you worried about? Who cares if blacks have an inferiority complex about their color? They're going to have to get over it. I hope you're not going to keep apologizing for being white. Blubbering apologies for white guilt is just as distasteful as racism. To which I say, go fuck yourself.
Yes, I'd say that would be the concise response. Yes, and so this was, just to be clear, this was a commenter. This wasn't Mira, right?
No, I don't think Mira would ever say something so aggressive. Like I said, and I'll reiterate it again if Mira is watching this.
Yeah.
I don't hate Mira, and despite being friends with Charla and Rachel, I stay out of that drama. This has nothing to do with past drama or Mira's history. This is simply to do with racism, and anyone who did what she did should be called out the same way.
There's one thing as well, I frequently bring this up, but this is a debate I have with Victor as well, about dealing with commenters and people on the internet, people on Twitter that I don't know, or commenters that I don't recognize on Twitter. And it's the question of whether Victor reacts similarly to you. I can't believe that there is a person there who thinks this, who says this, who supports that person. And he reacts very much like you. He gets very worked up by it. You know,
Latino people were so passionate. That's what it is.
It's true. You know, my New Zealand heritage, we learn to become very sheep-like about this sort of thing. You know, for me, everybody on the internet, everybody is not a person until they prove that they are a person. In my view,
guilty until proven guilty. Until proven innocent.
Proven innocent. They're a troll. I mean, if you see, to me, when I hear those comments, I think there's probably some 12-year-old who's just like for sport trying to provoke responses by just trying to think of an offensive thing to say and get a kick out of all the offense. Until I can actually see that this is a real person that has a channel that maybe they make videos where they actually espouse this type of ideology and oh shit, this person is actually a nut job who thinks that. I'm not going to take them seriously until I've seen any proof of life that this is anything other than a cartoon character that someone is just using to vent and deliberately provoke people. So that's how I let that kind of crap wash over. But this is what we have here. It's not so much the comments for me, but the people who we have confirmed are actual humans who are actually consciously doing these things. And so, yes, I mean, you know, people make some screwed up choices, obviously, but that said, you know, in this case, they've also chosen to own them. I got a question for you as well, because I was thinking about this after we talked about this the other day, and we're talking about what are we going to talk about the show, and you mentioned this. There is a movie from the 1980s that I watched, and I really wonder if you could even broadcast it now, actually. There's a lot of movies from the 80s, actually. There's been a few topics on this lately. We were talking about something being rapey the other day. And you think about the Police Academy movies or Revenge of the Nerds, and, all the pranks.
Oh, yeah, Revenge of the Nerds, for sure.
Were basically criminal, sexual assault.
Yeah.
You really, I was thinking, I grew up watching these as like 13-year-olds. It's amazing I didn't turn into a rapist watching these. Another movie of that time period was the movie Soul Man. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Because when I saw the way that Mira made herself up, when I saw the photo, it reminded me of the makeup in this character in Soul Man. Brian McNeil, I'd love to hear what Brian McNeil thinks of the movie Soul Man. Soul Man, a mid-1980s movie about an elite, private high school guy who misses out like by one place in getting into a university.
Oh my God! I think I know what movie you're talking about now.
Yeah, so basically, because an affirmative action, took his place, and so instead he drinks a bunch of tanning or something and becomes all sort of tanned, and decides to act like a black person to get the affirmative action scholarship to get into university. So he just acts like racist stereotypes of black people the whole time at university to get the scholarship. It's terrible.
I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Let's face it, the 80s were a dark time, although I grew up through them. But the look that he had through the makeup, it wasn't like blackface in terms of the minstrel face at all.
Yeah, it wasn't minstrel face.
It was actually fully sort of made up, and it just looks strange.
It kind of makes you just be like, oh.
I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So Victor, you're still screen capturing, but if you want to come back, I'm being the provocateur. I'm taking your role, so Victor, please, you can both be offended at me. I asked, isn't this all just PC, this offensive blackface, as kind of the first challenge I put out, and the second challenge I put out, isn't this just like the movie Soul Man? Have you seen the movie Soul Man?
Yeah, but that was like 1982 or something.
Yeah, when everything was basically, we just talked about how terrible the 1980s were in terms of
all stereotyping of every race,
everything,
gay people, and everything.
The guy Ted from Cheers also did blackface at the request or at the suggestion of Whoopi Goldberg. Blackface has got a pretty varied history.
Victor, what's your thoughts on blackface?
Okay, so about a year ago now, I think there was, or maybe 7 months ago or so, Bay McNeil led a battle against the.
He's in the comments, yeah.
Yeah, against the group. I forgot their name. Rats something. Rostock Rat.
Right.
And claiming it was racist and stuff. And it was insensitive and stuff. And I thought. I was against it then. I didn't support it. I think we had it on the show, and I was, when talking to him, I was supportive. And then after I got off and started thinking about it, I thought, I think it's wrong to force the Japanese to change just because this is what we think. I think they should learn, they should do it, and they should feel the backlash. They should do it, and then they should realize that they're not going to make any money this way, and then it's wrong naturally, not by us lecturing them like children. But with yeah, so I was against it when it comes to something like that because I think that eventually they'll realize that it's wrong. But for someone like Mira, I think it's just prideful and ignorant, and to do it, and it's a completely different case for one thing. She's not a social scientist. She's not a psychologist. She said she hasn't any. I think she just graduated high school. I don't think she has any psychological training at all.
I'm not going to hate on anyone for their level of education. I think everybody, everyone's got their reasons for how they go on there.
She's not a psychologist. Neither are you. If you do the same thing, I would say you're not a psychologist either.
That's an interesting opinion. Tell me more.
Honestly, I'm against social experiments. Period. Pranks are okay.
People who study psychology, in my experience, are consistently the most fucked up people. Just throwing that up.
No. People who study psychologists, children, are fucked up.
Okay, so continue. I'm sorry, I'm just randomly challenging you, but yes.
No, well, my uncle's a psychiatrist, and you're right, he's kind of screwed.
See, I told you.
Yeah, but that's all. That's not scientific evidence of.
Well, I don't think we're claiming it's science. I mean, I don't think even she was claiming it. Well, what was she claiming?
Actually, what it was is, in her own words, she wanted to do a social experiment. She claimed that she actually filmed so much footage that she had 48 hours worth of footage, meaning she didn't do blackface for just one day.
No.
Which is a lot of commitment. I mean, you must have been real committed, girl, because that's a lot of time to dedicate to looking a mess. Like,
okay.
Sorry.
A moment of honesty. Tell me, in spite of your horror that she did this, that you don't want to see the video, at least a bit of the video.
I mean, I would love. Who doesn't like to watch a train wreck? Sorry.
That's what I used to watch NASCAR for. I mean, exactly.
But the claim that really, I think, rubbed me and a bunch of other people the wrong way is a lot of people, of course, the first thing they asked is, if you wanted to do a social experiment about how black people were treated in Japan by Japanese people, why not ask a black person?
Exactly.
And her response to this is her response, you can watch it in her video too. She said, I didn't want to make a video using the voices of others. I wanted to experience how black people were treated by Japanese people so that I can compare it to my own experience being white and being in Japan and compare the two and speak in my own voice because black people don't understand what it's like to be white in Japan. So wrap your head around that.
I kind of can though. I mean, it's funny. I've heard a crazy story by, I guess I won't mention the person's name, but a person who I very much respect actually, but who's had a very Californian kind of very hippie sort of an upbringing. He's got a fantastic story about a time when in California he did the same. He kind of did the same thing once. A person who's recently gone back to California. And I guess because the guy is just very likable, actually, and you can kind of know from talking with this person, he didn't publish anything, it was just something, he himself just was really interested in race relations, and he just wanted to try to understand what it was like to be black so much that he tried it for a day, which is awkward, obviously, but hearing the story about how he did it, for me, it was kind of like interesting. That explanation, which I wasn't aware of, reminds me of that. I mean, the thing is it a bad thing? Do I want to understand what it feels like to be a black person, for example? I mean, it sounds like she's trying to have the experience, even if she's going about it in a way that's really.
If you think if it's coming from a real place of sincerity and
well, that's right.
Yeah. Which is difficult, albeit it's difficult to judge, but that's doubtful.
I mean, regardless of whether it was coming from a sincere place, I honestly do believe she did not mean any harm. She didn't mean to be offensive. I honestly believe that. I do believe that Mira is not. She didn't want to hurt people, but she did.
So the issue is, it's not the intent or it's the ignorance and so on, and it's the hurt that it causes the fact that this was done.
Yeah, I mean, here's a good example. A Pokemon reference from me, of course.
Yeah.
There used to be a Pokemon from the original 151, Jinx. Originally, Jinx was painted with a black face, and right. Jinx looks like a humanoid Pokemon. Nintendo eventually had to change Jinx's skin color to purple because people were offended that it might be seen as blackface. If Nintendo, a big company, had to apologize for doing something that wasn't meant to offend anyone, but they still took responsibility and changed it, then Mira should too. I mean, if Pokemon has to do it, they should too.
If they had to change the color of a Pokemon character, I'm pretty convinced that Mira should not have gone out in blackface. I mean,
Exactly. And like other big YouTubers like Shane Dawson, who has millions of subscribers, he had to make a public apology video for doing blackface. Granted, he did it a lot, and a lot of the times were offensive.
Yeah.
But he knew well enough to sincerely apologize and take responsibility for what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, apologizing and just understanding that you did something wrong and growing from it is not that difficult. But also, I'm not in that position, so who am I to say?
But if she doesn't feel, if she's not sincere about the apology, what's the point of that either?
That's what a lot of people are saying about that video.
So what's the point? I think I mentioned last night that I would love to be Luke Cage for Halloween.
Who's Luke Cage?
Luke Cage from Marvel.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, but like a Latino version.
Right. Well, he's okay. He's a big, really dark black character on America's Jessica Jones TV show. He's going to have his own show next year, and he's cool. That's where Nicolas Cage got his inspiration for his name, because Nicolas Cage's original name is Nicholas Scorsese.
Oh, well, that's not.
Yeah, and he didn't want anyone to give him a job just because he's Scorsese's nephew, so he changed to Cage, and the inspiration came from Luke Cage, who is a really big, muscular, black, bald guy.
Well, my mind is blown at the moment, actually.
Well, Victor, if you want to do a follow-up to this video after you do blackface for Halloween, please have me on.
But
well, I mean, there's a big controversy at the moment that, you know how they cast this Michael Jackson biopic to like an English white guy.
And actually, there was like an interview where Michael Jackson said, like, I don't know if it was a real interview. I just saw like a GIF of it.
Yeah.
Where, like, Michael Jackson said, if they made a movie, don't cast a white guy. Is that like a real quote? I don't know if someone made up that GIF.
I don't know, but at the same time, I mean, for me, what if the guy can be made up to actually very much look like him? Does it really matter? Is the ethnicity a barrier?
Well, I will say recently, late last year or mid last year, there was I can't remember the name of it. They released a movie about the Stonewall riots.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and
I've seen it.
I heard, just through LGBT history, they say that the first person who threw a brick during that riot was a black drag queen.
Right.
And actually, most of that revolution was spearheaded by people of color and drag queens. But the movie was so whitewashed, and they made the main character, aka the person who threw the first brick, a very attractive, muscly, twinky white man. And so many people were offended that they whitewashed LGBT history, and that's just not how it should have been. They made a lot of people of color that were in the movie very minor roles and focused more on the white character.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
And that sucks, and that's wrong, obviously. But I don't know. I find the debate over the casting of the Michael Jackson role just to be really interesting, because he's a guy who everyone talked about his whole life, and he actually had a skin condition. He actually had an illness that caused his skin to be that color, and it turns out that was actually true. People thought he was whitening for all this time, that he was doing it cosmetically, and it turns out he really wasn't.
Oh.
But the result was he ended up, and plus he had the nose job to have a Caucasian-looking nose, and he had white skin. So it's kind of, it's another interesting one. I mean, there's the balance between for me as well as an outsider looking at like where the line is with sensitivity in America. I mean, obviously going out in public. Trying to make, I don't know how I would even begin to make myself look like a black person and try to go out in public and do a social experiment. I don't think there's a problem per se with people doing social experiments. Obviously, Utah does it. Deep in Japan has done it and gotten into some trouble and so on. They can be provocative doing social experiments, and I don't think there's a problem with that per se. But at the same time, there are general common sense boundaries, which obviously here.
Yeah.
I can't understand how someone could think that was a good idea.
Exactly. Actually, very similar video, and it was actually it coincided with when I saw the picture. There was this video that was going around Facebook. It just popped up in my newsfeed. It was like a Vine video or something, and this guy, who I'm assuming is straight, he went around. You know those videos where people take a camera and they go next to someone and say something shocking to catch their reaction?
You just walk up next to him and stand there for a while?
Yeah. But he went around going up to random people and acting really gay and seeing how people would react. And I thought, that is the most offensive thing I've ever seen. Like, who are you to use being gay as like a negative thing to shock people and make them feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And then I saw Mira's thing and heard it was a social experiment, and I was like,
that's
what
a great
are
parallel.
all of these heterosexual white people thinking that they could just do social experiments to get views?
Well, that's right. I mean, actually, that's a fantastic example. That's like me going out to test how Japanese people react to gay people by just going out and acting how I think a gay person should act.
Hey, girl.
It's like, well, you're very
FYI,
related,
Japanese
obviously.
people have no gaydar. Even if you said, hey, girl, they wouldn't even know.
They don't. They literally
No, Japanese people have zero gaydar. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love it when you go onto airplanes and you have the announcements on the airplane. I was on a flight to Australia recently, and there was just this fantastic, this fabulous announcement where I was just almost beside myself laughing at just how over the top this announcement was. And the plane was all Japanese. I turned to my wife and was like, "Are you getting this?" And my wife's like, "What?" You're right. They have no idea.
No idea.
So that's true. But there again, if I were to make a video like you say, I could, yes. Well, again, so common sense dictates that would just be a stupid thing for me to do.
You're like, am I gonna offend a whole group of people? Yes. Okay, then I probably shouldn't do what I'm about to do. That's it.
The word common sense here is I have a problem with it because, okay, we're all the same race, right? Actually.
You're the human race, yes.
Right, because race doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, it's like the
So we've all bought into this idea that there are blacks and other races and whites.
We're all from Africa in the beginning.
No, I mean, the anthropologists have argued this before. And if race is not important, then why do we make a big deal when people do things like this? Right? It's because we understand that all the black people who are actually the same race will get upset over this. So when you say common sense, I agree with you, but it's a common sense that it's almost like a lie that everyone has agreed is the nicest lie. It's the lie that will hurt the least amount of people and offend the least amount of people.
But in addition to that, like,
the why is really blackface that offensive? I mean,
well, I feel like now like you said, we kind of understand now that race really shouldn't be that important. However, that it took us a long time to realize that, and in that time, we have built a lot of history that does matter, and that's kind of where the issue comes up.
Well, the irony is the more sensitive, the more aware we've become of race, in a way, the more sensitive we've become about it, and the more easily it's become triggered, I suppose. But I mean, well, you're clear on obviously why the history, particularly in America anyway, of the history of blackface and why so many black people find it offensive, right? I mean, it's not.
Yeah. No, I've done a lot of research on it, and I almost made a video about it, but I did. But I researched quite a bit about it, and I don't know why this guy Mata Gaijinga. No, that's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I was trying to say. I agree. Anthropologists will say there's no scientific basis for the existence of race as a real thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But we seem to all agree that. So, for example, Michael Jackson being cast as a white person, why should that really matter?
Exactly, I agree with that, actually.
Best actor, right?
I mean, maybe it's cultural. Maybe it's cultural. I mean, the fact is that we do have these definitions, which frankly do fail if you try to put scientific, if you try to really pace it. But
here's what it comes down to. I think. Let's say that my wife doesn't like me to do one certain thing that I don't think is that offensive, but it bothers the hell out of her.
Yeah.
So if I love her and I care about her, then I won't do that thing.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That's all it comes down to. So, black people, if you respect them, and you don't want to anger them and piss them off, then you really shouldn't do blackface because it's disrespectful. That's basically it. That's
do you hear that, people watching this video? Do you hear that? Victor just spoke the truth. Like, it's that simple.
No, it's it doesn't really make sense if you're from a philosophical point of view or anthropological point of view. But if you respect black people, then don't do blackface.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Simple as that.
Well, if you want to hear a little bit more about Mira's, rationalizing it, doing blackface is the same as a white person dyeing their hair blonde. Doing blackface is the same as a white person getting a tan.
Well, yes, without the slavery, but yes.
And by telling a white person that because they're white, they can't paint their skin brown, that's racist. You're the racist, not the person doing blackface, but the person telling them they can't do it because they're white. And that's my social lesson of the day.
So there you go. So obviously very opinionated, as you self-introduced actually, that you're which is a good thing, and you came to the right show to be strongly opinionated. So what are the sort of videos that you're planning to make, like going forward? I mean, you're going to do more videos about Japan you're talking about, or what's coming up on your channel?
I actually, for the future, like I said, I was going to do a lot more tip videos. Christina, actually, check out...
Sorry, I think we both misheard that.
Tips videos?
Tip videos.
Tip videos. Just the tip. Just the tip. So I wanted to make more tip videos.
Subscribing. There's tip videos on.
Yeah, guys, subscribe to my channel. Tons of boobs, because that's what I love.
Hey, that's what makes YouTube go around. But yes.
But Christina, check out her channel. Everyone in the comments, I'm sure you all know her by now. But Christina in Japan, she made she made a video recently, tips for studying abroad in Japan. But her video was focusing more on coming to Japan to study abroad. So next week I'll be making like a follow-up video to that about tips how to enjoy your year in Japan, getting jobs and how to get the best of your experience, saving money, things like this. Kind of like a follow-up to what Christina did.
Where to buy the best black paint face.
Yeah, you know, the best Halloween costumes, what race is in this year.
Yeah, yeah. I like a Puerto Rican costume if one is available. Yes.
Just jean jacket and jeans, and you're fine.
I'm going to dress up as Victor.
Red bandana.
But also just like, I guess, copying from like non-J vloggers, but like big YouTube channels that I really like, because I do like just other YouTubers as well outside the J vlogging community. But maybe a lot of people think it's stupid, but because it's so common. But I really wanted to do more like story time videos.
I see your last thing is called Story Time coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a lot of funny stories about being in Japan.
I think story videos are
a 16-year-old girl student I had who asked me if I would try something new and switch from being gay so that I could date her and be with her. So just stories like that where I feel like these are funny stories that happened to me when I was in Japan that would be really funny.
She was 16. What's wrong with you?
She was 16, but you know, like, when you look this good, I can't blame her. Like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's pity on her. But seriously, this is I've always said this. Back in the day when we were all on 360p and shooting with webcams with like half a megapixel on them, the only way you could make compelling content was to tell good stories actually. And the best videos, for all the flash and the editing and all that sort of stuff, the best videos to me always are interesting stories being told, in a good way.
Me too.
So that's awesome if you're gonna do stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually I was having a conversation with Christina, so I would love to hear what you guys think. But Christina was telling me she likes very short videos and just showing very good editing and very quick information coming really fast. So you can just get a lot in a small amount of time. But for me, I actually enjoy the videos that you guys put out. In general, I like long videos. I really like long videos. I mean, a lot of the times when I'm watching videos where people are talking or telling a story, like your laundry videos, that's exactly what I do. I put it in a tab, I don't watch it, I just listen to it while I play video games or while I lesson plan or while I cook. So I really like those videos. If it's a short video, you constantly have to open the tab again, look for the next video. I just want to leave it there for an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do, and and I agree. So long as you've got something to say, and your audience realizes that, there's a bit of a trust thing to get long videos to be successful. But yeah, I think if you've got, which you clearly do, I think those are actually the best vids. And I love it when I do short videos, and this has happened with the videos I do with Rochelle, and you get comments like, that video wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
That's the best comment.
I mean, it's good if people want more from you, if they're interested in what you have to say.
Leave them wanting more. It's a good tip for YouTube as well.
That's a good tip for life.
That's right.
Hey, I don't think we haven't actually met in person, have we?
Yes, we have actually.
At the YouTube Hanami?
We met at either the Hanami party or the summer party or something. And you were a little drunk. You were feeling your oats that night. I'm so for that. But I remember very clearly, to have a little story time. I was talking to these two girls, and we were talking about being gay, and then you came over to me, having heard a snippet of the conversation, and you were like, "There is nothing wrong with being gay," and I was like, "Victor, I am gay," and you were like, "Okay."
You don't remember if it was outside or inside? Because if it was outside, it was a Hanami. If it was inside,
it was outside at night. I had come. You guys were originally. It was at a bar. It was at a bar originally.
when it's night, I was pretty drunk at that.
It was at night. It was at night. Like the party
Yeah,
continued.
you gotta let me off the hook for that. I mean,
No, no, it was cool. I was all about it, but I was just like, oh, he's not gonna remember this. He's not gonna remember this.
Okay, so you don't blame me. But I hope to meet you again, which is why I brought this up, because the Hanami's coming up soon.
Oh yeah, I definitely plan on going to Tokyo Hanami.
Looks very likely to be the first week of April. We're waiting for Hikosaemon to confirm it, but it should be the first week of April. But let's have a look. That's what the
weather reports, and it looks like that's going to be a good.
I have to quickly. By the way, Victor, you've been taunting me on Twitter today, saying that you made a video longer than me. But the truth is,
I think it's the longest video ever. It's
your last video was so long.
Hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah, it was so long. I love it.
That's nothing. You and your baby short videos. I'm sorry. I laugh at you. And I can't believe you can't even remember. It's
I don't think you've ever made a video longer than me now. I think I've got the record.
We made a longer video than that together, and I can't believe that you've forgotten. I mean, and you come talking about it.
Oh, wait.
So, complete bullshit. We have done a 2.5-hour breakdown of the poor white men in Japan article in Japan Times.
How long was that? It's 3 hours long. Oh my god, I didn't even get half.
I don't think I've ever seen that video.
Man, it is a good video. Line by line, we destroy a journalist from the Japan Times for 3 hours.
Oh my god, I'll have to watch that. That'll be my next cooking video.
You're right. That was a 3-hour video.
It was a 3-hour video. Our record is perfectly intact, I'm afraid.
Oh my, you're right. Okay, I thought I had the longest video, but you're right.
So anyway, and speaking of long videos, we're well past our regular schedule.
Hey, I apologize for being in and out today. We had quite a well, you know.
Hey, you had a baby. I can see.
I'm glad we got to see him. Such a cutie.
Yeah. He won't be at the party, but maybe in a couple of years.
Oh, he won't be drinking at Hanami? Damn.
He won't know. I'm breastfeeding, so I can't drink.
Yeah, just be careful. Zika virus. So, look, big reminder, the Hanami is coming up, and you're going to get to meet all three of us. But, of course, you can meet us, and that's cool. But you can also go subscribe to Amadofu, because he's obviously an interesting dude making interesting videos, so go and do that. And hang around here every Saturday. We're going to keep doing this as we do. Any other announcements or news?
No, I guess.
Okay, I think we're good.
I'm good.
Oh, next week, I got a couple of people who. Oh, I just talked to Chris Broad in Japan.
Oh, yes.
And he's agreed to come back on because we had him when you were on vacation. So he's.
That's why I've never talked to him. Yeah.
But not yet, because he's got something in the works now. So he's going to wait until that's announced, and then. But keep your eye on that channel. That's something big that's going to happen over there.
That'll be a good idea.
After that happens, he's going to agree. And there's also someone else who's amazing, and I just. I've known him for a long time, but his videos have improved incredibly, and his name is now it's called Happy in Japan. I don't remember what his old channel name is.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know that. I know him.
I've known him for years, and he was just not to be dismissive of his old videos. He was just an average YouTuber, but now he's like, oh my god, I've never seen videos. He's amazing.
Delbert right?
Yes, yeah, that's it. That's his old channel name.
Delbert Mon. I've had people pinging me as well. You got to talk to this guy. He's doing amazing stuff, and I haven't followed it up, but I know.
Yeah, check out his last video alone. Just watch 1 minute of it, and like, oh my god, this guy knows how to edit and tell a story, and just really, really good. So, and he lives here in Nagoya, so maybe I can get him on live with me and the whole thing. We'll see. Anyway, that's coming up soon, so maybe next week. I don't know yet. Well, I'll have to talk to him. Oh no, I can't. He's actually busy for a couple weeks. Yeah, he's actually busy, but we'll get somebody, or not.
We'll figure it out. We'll.
You should get Ryan Boundless. I would watch that.
I would love to have Ryan Boundless on.
I legitimately think that would be a very interesting video.
I would get my mic.
I don't know what I would say.
I would go like this. I would get very close to the camera, and I would say, "Go home."
He's still in Japan, I think.
Yeah, I think he's still here. But if he's doing his own thing. He's living the fantasy, and I'm all for that. So.
I loved his Starvation in Japan videos. I think he's trolling part of the time. I actually don't mind his videos at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely interesting to watch.
Yes. Well, occasionally.
So, never-ending action here, but never-ending action, of course, on Amadofu's channel. So you've had all the reasons to go and check out. If you don't know him already, go and subscribe. And
Amadofu.
Be awesome to see you at the Hanami, of course. But
yes,
if it's okay, you come back on here sometime as well.
But yeah, definitely. I'm excited for Hanami. Now that I know more YouTubers, I feel like Hanami party will be more interesting. I won't be just standing in the corner.
And Hanami is a real milestone every year when the community always gets a big bump just because it's the biggest networking event basically in the whole calendar. So yeah, it's a big deal.
I'm excited.
So cool. Okay, thank you for coming on. Have a good night, and see all you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
On all different channels. Okay, see ya. Peace.
Down, Amadofu.